Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the MCU After Show on 4GQ TV. And today we are discussing Mean and Green behind us. Sorry, the She-Hulk.
Hulk.
This came out on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen it, you may want to watch it if you are a fan of the Hulks. Or maybe not. I don't know. That's why you're watching this. Possibly to find out if you do want to watch it. But on this show, I do have some amazing people. My co-host, my partners, my crew. All right. So, welcome, Paris, to the She-Hulk episode.
Hey, what's going on? It was a great first episode debut of She-Hulk. It was really good. I liked it. We'll dive into a little bit of it. I'm Gang Green, Team Hulk. I think we're probably gonna have to get some She-Hulk T-shirts here soon.
Yeah,
I'm sure Marvel's gonna be marketing that.
Hey, Marvel, do you hear us?
Yeah. Hey, I will wear a She-Hulk shirt on every show, Marvel, if you keep giving them to me.
If they send
there are going to be She-Hulk shirts, and there's going to be She-Hulk posters, and boys all over the country are going to have their She-Hulk posters.
Yep. I'm green all the way around, man. Green all the way.
Put something on Paris' shelf, Marvel.
Yeah.
There we go.
And Paul, I mean, lately your name has gone all over the world. You've been known as Poppy Seed, Spice, Candy Apple, Pumpkin Pie. Paul, because it's the holiday season coming up. You know, you got Halloween coming up, and we just get into the spirit. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, just having fun. And I really did enjoy the first episode of She-Hulk. I didn't know a lot about the characters, and I really liked the style they went for, and the mood they went for was interesting. I liked it.
Yeah. It's kind of like I'll go ahead and open it up. But if one thing that the show kind of threw me off on is how it's like they want you to feel like it's going to be serious, and then like the slapstick humor just comes right at the beginning. When the assistant's like, oh, you just burst into She-Hulk, and you kind of realize then and there that like everybody knows it, and then she's talking to you, the viewer, at the point, which kind of throws me off a little bit, because now I don't know, is this serious? Is this a dramedy? Is this a comedy? Is this an origin story? And it's like, it's got all of that in there, right? Except it's not really dramatic, okay? But, so the opening scene, she talks to us, guys. What do you think about Paris? What do you think about that when she's talking to you? Do you feel like she's resonating with you? Are you staring at your screen and you're like, She-Hulk, talk to me.
She was piercing me with her eyes. It was, she broke the fourth wall, it was the Deadpool thing, I'm action and I'm talking to you directly through the camera. Yeah. I'm talking to the audience sort of thing. So I like how they added that twist to it. It was, I don't really, I'm not sure the rest of the episodes, but I know they did release the first 4 to a lot of the media peeps out there. It was good. I like how they did that. I kind of like the fact that they're doing it in this style with She-Hulk. We could keep it, hip, funny, kind of fast moving as they're going through the story. Like it was quick, sort of like, and keep it that way, keep it at that pace, because I think it fits. If we want to get into more of a dramatic She-Hulk story, maybe her own solo movie or something like that, where she actually has to do a lot more, and you're really telling that sort of type of story. But for this one, it was good. I don't really want, to be honest. I mean, personally, she's probably going to have in the show sometimes. She's probably going to have personal issues with everything that's going on. She'll probably break down, and probably some of that sort of emotion might come out, because she already hinted towards that, being a woman and all this other stuff that goes into her controlling her anger and stuff like that. Like she has to do it every day. And I really like that. I liked her explaining. I see some posts on Twitter. People are like, I didn't even really think about that. I'm like, really? Like, you never really thought that women had to go through that? Like, if that's the case, we have a long way to go as a society. Yes. But I'm glad people are actually admitting it. Like, they're actually, it's dawning on them. unfortunately, it took She-Hulk for them to recognize it. But hey, it's progress, right? But yeah, the show is great. Paul, what did you think so far of the first opening scenes?
Well, my understanding, and again, I don't have much, but I do have a friend who got the background. He told me that they even in the comic books they would break the fourth wall quite a bit. So this is actually sticking to the tone of the comic books in that sense. Also, like the fact that when they did it later in the show, and her cousin was right there with her, he's looking at her, then he's looking at where she's looking, and you don't know if he realizes what she's doing or if he's just like, what in the world are you, And it's going to be interesting to me when they bring in, like, we know Daredevil's coming into the series. We know he's going to be at least in a courtroom scene, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works with this tone of series compared to the much heavier tone of Daredevil. What they do with the character. So,
Yes.
but so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the next episode a lot.
So. Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm just gonna say it, right? Okay, this is the elephant in the room. It's no Moon Knight, man. It is no Moon Knight, okay? I love Moon Knight, and this is no Moon Knight. However, I saw a lot of tones in the show that I thought were quite interesting. So some of the, just to overall tone of the show and not the specifics yet, but so I noticed some factors where it's almost like Bruce was kind of like mansplaining to her what being the Hulk is about. And I thought that was quite interesting because it's almost like, in a way, the writer's trying to tell us, listen, everybody, you could have a similar thing happen to you, but your experience is going to be completely different than somebody else's. So I thought that was an interesting tone in there. The fact that when she's hanging out at not hanging out, but ends up at that, like, kind of dive bar, and those guys outside are like, hey, where are you going? Hey. It's like almost a very uncomfortable kind of like feeling.
She was dressed like a hooker at the time, so
I mean,
I mean, they set it up for that. She stepped out. She's standing next to the post, and she's leaning against it, and she's got that big furry thing on. She looked like a lady of the night. I mean, yes.
Paul, come on, man. Come on, Paul. Not necessarily.
No, that's what they were, but that's what they were going for. That's exactly what they were going for.
Listen.
Or they could have been going for a woman standing there next to the post and three drunk guys come out of a bar.
Yeah, no, I think they went specifically for that look.
No.
I think they went specifically for that look.
No.
I know, but why would they continue it on though? If she said no, leave me alone.
Yeah, I think it was a message, right?
I think it was a little bit of both.
Wait, whoa, Paul, you gotta let me finish.
I'm sorry. I mean, it may not be a popular view, but
Listen, you have a right to your opinion. I mean, I can't tell you can't have an opinion. But what I'm saying is, what I think is that they're trying to say that just because somebody's dressed a certain way or looks a certain way doesn't. It kind of speaks to the culture today, right? Because you hear this a lot in the media. Oh, well, so-and-so went here, they were dressed like this. And I think Marvel and the writers are trying to say, listen, just because somebody is in a specific situation or in a specific spot or maybe dressed a certain way doesn't mean to try and harass or stalk somebody. And I think that's a positive message that they're trying to get out there in the show. Like, I think it was written in there pretty well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was in there pretty well. There was a tone of that there, and I kind of like that, I do have a daughter, okay? So I like that message, and I hope it resonates with today's generation of knowing, hey, listen, guys, don't do that.
No means no. Like, don't get aggressive, right? She says no. After you try to talk to her, hey, leave it alone. There's three guys walking up on a single girl. Like, that's kind of weird. Well, no, not kind of weird. It is weird and overly, hyperly aggressive. But, stuff like that does happen in real life, right? So I'm glad they were able to show some of that. Too bad she didn't Hulk up and just beat them all up, which I thought she was going to do. But, and then Hulk show up. That's kind of wish I was hoping for, but then he comes and tackles her. But the point that you were making, Carlo, when she was in the camp learning how to be, a superhero. That's what Bruce was trying to Bruce Hulk or whatever, Smart Hulk. Yeah, what he was trying to train her for, because he knows with great power comes great responsibility. So he was kind of taking that. I noticed that little theme.
I'm so glad he didn't say that. I'm so glad he didn't say that.
I thought he was going to say it. I thought they were going to do a reference and maybe play the Spider-Man song. Like, I thought they were going to do that just to get cheesy with it. But yeah, he did have a point. There's always a balance. Vision said this before. He said, like, anytime there's we're super powered people, there's going to be a balance. Regardless of what it is, there's a balance to it. And the more superheroes you have running around, there's going to be more supervillains out there, just as strong, running around out there doing bad stuff too. It's just the power of the balance of nature is what he was saying. And I think that's kind of what he was trying to tell her. But, she was like, hey, I want to do it my way. I don't want to be a superhero, right? She wants to live her life. Not everybody's about that superhero life, right? She wanted to just go and be a lawyer. She's had so much more to accomplish. Just imagine if you were in her shoes, going to school, battling to try to get to the top of the, passing the bar exam alone at that, right? And then battling to try to become the top lawyer or become a partner in your firm, and going through all the trials and tribulations of that and trying to become someone. And just, she even talked about how she had to go through things and how men had to explain to her her job when she obviously already knows it, right? So she playing off a lot of that stuff. She didn't want to be a superhero, which was perfect. And I think Bruce finally, Smart Hulk finally understood that. And after the wrestling match, but you could tell that they were both really close cousins growing up, because it's more of a sibling thing. That's kind of what I got from it. Like, they were really, really close younger growing up, because, cousins wrestle and stuff like that all the time when they get together. So I'm sure Bruce was probably the bully a little bit, but she would always probably pull off some sort of scheme on him to get him back and stuff like that. That's why she wasn't too scared of him when they were like as Hulks wrestling around and stuff, and little competition. That's why Hulk was like, I'm getting mad, because maybe when they were little, she used to do things better than him or something like that. You can just tell there's a history there, which was really good to see, and stuff like that, to draw that connection between the two, and their relationship as we see it carry forward in the next episode. So, Paul, how did you feel about sort of like that situation after after she leaves the island and that whole thing?
One, I didn't think, Carlo used the term mansplaining. I don't think he was doing that at all. I think the thing is, the experience of being the Hulk is, to him, he's the only one who's gone through that. So he was just trying to get her to avoid some of those pitfalls, to understand. And until he learned that she wasn't exactly like him, in the fact that she could control it and she could be, and it was just her. It wasn't an alter ego. It wasn't something inside of her fighting to get out. It was just part of her. Mm-hmm. Once he understood that, then he understood, okay, I think you're going to be okay. But before that, it was like he didn't want her to go through the same crap that he went through, right, where he was, hunted and wanted and misunderstood and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he did convince her to stay, because he was like, you don't want people to think you're a monster. That's going to be the worst feeling.
Yeah, right. And part of it was she was being a little stubborn about it too, because she didn't understand that whole darker side of it, that you can't just go back and be yourself totally. Right. This is now a part of you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought this is where the tone kind of gets a little weird though. Yeah, because they were almost play fighting, and then he throws her through the bar, or she throws him through the bar, and okay, you're fixing it, and it just stopped the fight right there,
Well, that's kind of like when you're little, right?
Yeah.
Wrestling with your friends or cousins or brothers or sisters, something goes wrong, something breaks. Yeah. Let's fix it. Let's hurry. Or, the mom and dad's going to come, that sort of feeling, right? Or something breaks that's really valuable to someone. You're like, oh no, I'll do whatever I got to do to help you fix it, right? Sorry.
Yeah, I also, through that whole sequence too, her almost infatuation with Captain America, where all she, that's all she wanted to talk about. Yeah, great Hulk fight. What about Cap?
What about
Cap?
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to add in, is that I felt like that for the first time that I've seen, at least, Disney and Marvel kind of like take a more adult approach, even though this is a comedic kind of show. They took a more adult approach in the affairs of Steve Rogers, you know, Captain America. And I thought that was interesting because I've never seen that done and really in a Marvel-esque kind of way, you know, during Disney's tenure of Marvel. I haven't really seen that, so I thought that was interesting. So, could that mean, you know, let's get into, I'm just going to throw this conspiracy theory out there, and Perry's probably going to laugh and say, no. So, could this mean that Juggernaut may, just like the comic books, have a close friendship with the She-Hulk?
No. Not in this series. not in this series. Maybe later on in the MCU universe. But we got to address the stuff that happened in this show first. If we're just throwing Juggernaut. You know.
Hey, listen. Juggernaut enters everything. He breaks everything. He breaks the fourth wall. He's in the fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth wall, that guy. So, Paris, do you want to talk about the courtroom scene a little bit and like kind of what happened there?
Before we even get there, I want to address like at the beginning, like of the episode where they're telling the story when they crashed the car and she got turned in. So the ship from that was the same ships that were in Thor Ragnarok, where the Hulk was out there fighting. So there's a whole bunch of speculation. There's two things, right? There's, you know, Hulk did have a son in the comics, Scar. So is that Hulk's son? Because when Hulk was out there, who knows what he was doing, right? You know, he could have went out and had a kid. So there's a piece of that that's potentially out there where you can allude to, or they're trying to get him back by capture him.
Real quick, that seemed like a throwaway to me because Bruce goes, "Yeah, I got to look into that," and then you hear nothing else about it.
Yeah, I think it was more they needed to look into it, and then I think since they're on that island, I think he is a Hulk. He's probably not scared about it, but he probably is like, okay, there's something going on.
Yeah,
that's probably gonna tie into whatever's happening in the next, maybe not in this series, but into something else for the Hulk.
It just struck me that they showed it. They did that. He mentioned that he was going to look into it, and then it wasn't mentioned for the rest of the episode at all.
Right, and that had happened before. Like, the time jumps, like you were talking. We were talking about off the thing. We're talking about the time jumps. Like we were trying to figure out the timelines and stuff like that. So,
and they're not really clear on that.
How long was she at the island? How long was the time, before her leaving the island and to getting back to her normal life? How long was she at her normal life? Probably long enough for her to tell her friend that she's She-Hulk, right? And all that stuff. So the timelines, I guess they're gonna have to explain a little bit more so we know. But we do know that ship was there, and that ship could have been for anything. I guess they'll tie that story. So us Marvel fans are like, "Ooh, Hulk did have a son, Scar. So is it that his son coming to find his father, right? Is it the people that want to recapture him because he's the champion? Because Thor's not going back. They're not going to stop Thor. They're not going to get Thor to do that. All that stuff. So I guess we'll see. And then there's like the part in the car when they were talking about family members that were also smart when she was mentioning that. I guess there was somebody by the name of Chad that Bruce Banner brought up. Now that person is not listed in the Marvel comics at all, so I couldn't find a relative. So I guess we'll find out who that person is. If they do anything like that, I don't know. Maybe it was just sort of a throwaway line or something like that. But anytime Marvel says a name or a person, you're like, ooh, the ears get perky. You're like, hey, I gotta go find out what this is. So so after they get off the island, they're in the courtroom. Titania comes in and busts through the wall. I was kind of surprised they did it in that manner. I was thinking maybe she should have been the defendant, and she got, I don't know. I don't know how they, maybe it just didn't really make any sense to me why she just busted open that random courtroom wall and stuff like that. And then sort of how they had I know they were trying to tell the story of She-Hulk. Now she's going to be, she's putting on her superhero cape right there because she actually hulked up and saved the courtroom and everybody celebrated. And then she was like, hey, I'd like to give my my closing arguments now and stuff like that. So that sort of thing. But it was kind of weird a little bit. I kind of wished it was done a different way, just for me, my sakes, because I like the story, and I just don't, sometimes randomness for no reason just to create the action scene. It would have been cool, like if they were walking outside the courtroom and then she was like mad at her lawyer, and then she tossed her lawyer out of the way, and then she was about to start hurting. The police tried to stop her, and then she hulks up and does something. But just for her to just bust through the courtroom and everybody looks at her, and then she just goes crazy in there. It's kind of
Well, my thought was she might have been working for the defendant. That she came in there with the purpose of breaking it up because he was gonna be found guilty or whatever.
Right. Well, is she a prosecutor or is she a defense? She's a defense attorney, right?
I thought she was a prosecutor. Maybe I misunderstood that.
Yeah, no, she's a defense attorney. So, because she defends,
Yeah.
she's supposed to be defending superheroes. So that's kind of why it was so random. Like in the comics, like she started defending superheroes because of the new laws and all that other stuff, and superheroes breaking laws, and she would always be defending.
I had also heard that, and I didn't have a chance to verify this, that this episode, parts of it were actually out of order to the series from when they intended to show it.
Yeah,
I might have to dig that up. Yeah. Which would also throw the story off, like they did with, what's it called, Firefly. Remember, that's what threw Firefly off, is they told the story out of order, so it was really confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure on any of that, but the fact that she's the defense attorney leads to the Juggernaut. Anyway, so in the courtroom, I don't know why you said her name was Tatiana.
Titania.
Titania. Like, there's no real explanation why she broke in there, but like Paul said,
and she didn't know She-Hulk. You remember when she hooked up, she was like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't I thought the same thing as Paul did it. I think, it seemed like in this particular moment, I thought that She-Hulk was the prosecutor and the other people were on the defense, because he was trying to get out of
or maybe it was maybe it wasn't a trial thing. Maybe it was a civil.
It could have, exactly. Yeah, it could have been.
Right.
Could have been maybe one of her first cases as the She-Hulk in a sense, and maybe that's how Marvel wanted to open up. But I guess we'll find out when episode 2 drops. We'll find out a little bit more and why Titania. Hopefully I said that right again. Was there because that kind of threw me off, like busting through the wall.
Yeah. She busts through the wall. She-Hulk stops her, and then the cops put handcuffs on her, normal handcuffs, after she just busted through the wall. So I'm like, yeah, somebody's gonna have to do some explaining, because she should just be able to bust right out of those handcuffs and bust down the next wall and run. Maybe that's for next episode or something. I don't know. Yeah, but overall the episode was good. What do you guys think? What are you guys gonna rank this episode?
Paul?
I would give it an 8.
Wow.
Okay. Just because there were some weak spots, but I still consider it pretty high. So.
Okay. It's fair. I would say I'm at maybe a 7.5 because I need to see where this is going.
Yeah, I'm in lines with you, Carlo. 7.5 between then and there. Yeah. And it's just more of just I like the storyline so far until we got to the end part, and that sort of brought me from being an 8, almost 8.5 to a 7.5. That was sort of like what did it for me. Yeah.
Now Marvel, if you put the Juggernaut in this, it goes right up to like a 10 out of 10. I just put it out there, all right? Okay, not the silver Juggernaut from Deadpool either. I mean, like, we want the red suit Juggernaut from the comic books, the Uncanny X-Men. Yes, Marvel, let's go. Let's go.
No. How are they going to fit him into a courtroom? It's like...
He just breaks the wall like everybody else.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting how they figure out what they do with those X-Men characters and Juggernaut and all that stuff. You know, the villains. You know, is Juggernaut gonna be the Juggernaut, or is he gonna be a person that can hulk up to a Juggernaut or something like that? You know.
I mean, well, you know, I'm just gonna throw this out there. A little bit of speculation is that, you know, we know that Daredevil's coming into the series, Matt Murdock. So that alludes me to believe that possibly the Kingpin could be involved in something going forward in the show. And with the Kingpin, all sorts of criminal associates could be involved. I mean, that guy has notorious ties, like, to the whole underworld of the Spider-Man universe. So you never know. I mean, they have so much potential, and I want to see Marvel utilize that, because I thought the quality of the show, when we talk special effects and we talk about just the overall quality aesthetics, it was great. I mean, you know, 100% there. Like, they did a fantastic job. So I'm looking forward to episode 2, guys. And I hope everybody out there watching this is looking forward to the same. And drop some comments below or in the Marvel group as well.
Yeah. Drop those comments. Let us know what you think about She-Hulk. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We'll look forward for episode 2, and we'll have to do this again.
Yes. All right, guys. Talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching.